I'll work my hands raw for you. The cowboy's answer gave her hope. Eliza Monroe stood alone on the deserted station platform, snow biting at her cheeks, the train's whistle fading behind her. She shivered, whispering, "Please, don't leave me." Out of the storm appeared Jack Thornton, calm and steady on his black Mustang. "Ma'am, you'll freeze," he said, offering warmth and hope. He lifted her onto his horse, shielding her from the blizzard, softly explaining, "'Cause someone should have helped me once." By the cabin's fire, tea-steaming blankets wrapping around her past pains were shared. "I was left too," he admitted, and with the storm fading outside, he stood guard at the door whispering, "You're safe here." In the wild, harsh West, sometimes love and courage arrive just in time. Eliza Monroe stood trembling in the snow-covered meadow, the pale moonlight piercing through the mist, casting a cold yet anxious expression across her face. The wind howled through the blades of grass, sending snowflakes swirling in the air, making the surroundings both magical and eerily silent. Suddenly, in the distance, the figure of Jack Thornton appeared atop his horse, his worn leather coat and wide-brimmed hat partially shading his face, his eyes calm yet sharp fixed on her. He halted his horse in the middle of the field, his breath misting in the cold air, watching Eliza with a careful yet quietly tender gaze. In that moment, a flicker of hope ignited within her, allowing the audience to feel both curiosity and a sense of comfort amid the harshness of the wild frontier. Part 1. Salvation amid the blizzard. The blizzard lashed at Eliza Monroe as she struggled to take slow, deliberate steps across the deserted train platform. Snow clung thickly to her worn shoes and thin cloak, making her shiver violently. The cold yellow glow of the station lights reflected off the drifting snowflakes suspended in the silent air. Each step felt as if she were sinking into a white labyrinth, the wind whistling past her ears, tangling her hair and turning her lips blue. She heard the distant wail of a departing train, but it was gone, leaving her alone in the cold, in the grip of solitude and despair. Eliza shivered, bowing her head, her eyes searching for any sign of support amid the storm. Her legs felt almost impossible to lift. Each heartbeat throbbed with pulses of fear. She told herself she had to find shelter, though she didn't know where, though she had never set foot in any cabin in the area. The world around her seemed filled with absolute silence, broken only by the whistle of the wind and the rustling of snow underfoot. Everything was harsh, merciless, and she, a fragile woman in the western blizzard, felt on the brink of collapse. Then from afar, a figure appeared. For the first time in hours, Eliza glimpsed a clear image through the swirling snow. A man on horseback, composed wearing a worn leather coat and a wide-brimmed hat that shadowed half his face, his eyes glinting with sharp intelligence. He moved steadily through the storm, seemingly unaffected by the cutting wind. His horse advanced in slow, measured steps, hooves striking the ground like gentle drum beats, soothing Eliza's trembling heart. Jack Thornton. He was the image of protection and hope amid the wild western plains. His sturdy posture and keen, calm eyes fixed on the shivering girl created a quiet strength. Eliza froze, her heart skipping beats, not in fear, but in the sudden spark of belief. Finally, someone was here. Someone who would get her through this storm. Without a word, Jack approached. He stopped his horse directly in front of her, observing every detail: the snow on her coat, her trembling hands, the anxious yet faintly hopeful look in her eyes. Seeing her helplessness, Jack quickly removed his own cloak and draped it over her shoulders. Immediately, warmth spread through her thin garment. It wasn't just the warmth of the worn leather. It was the gentle care, the kindness hidden in every gesture. That heat awakened in Eliza the belief that she was no longer alone. Before she could speak, Jack bent down and lifted her off the ground with careful strength. She felt his power, but was not overwhelmed. Her heart gradually steadied, trusting the protection of the man before her. He hoisted her onto the saddle with a firm yet gentle touch, each motion assuring her safety. The wind still howled, snow still fell, but within Jack's coat, in the circle of his arms, Eliza felt utterly protected. On the path toward the wooden cabin, the horse's hooves struck the snow in steady rhythm, blending with the wind's whistle, creating a gentle yet resolute cadence. Eliza felt each step like a heartbeat, sensing Jack's breathing, feeling the security gradually envelop her. All her tension, her worry, her initial fear seemed to melt away in his presence. She began to breathe more slowly, her eyes glinting with a flicker of hope. They passed snow-laden bushes, the moonlight illuminating glistening flakes on the leaves, creating a scene both magical and serene. Jack spoke little silently, guiding the horse, ensuring Eliza stayed warm and safe. His gaze, though not smiling, held profound concern, calming the fragile girl, as if she had found a lifeline in the merciless storm. Finally, they arrived at a small wooden cabin, its roof blanketed in snow. Jack gently set Eliza down, draping another warm blanket over her shoulders. The firelight from the cabin's hearth flickered across her face, softening the tension and worry etched into her features. She bowed her head, taking a long breath, inhaling the scent of burning wood and the warm aroma of the tea Jack had just prepared. The cabin's warmth and quiet made it feel like another world far from the storm outside. In that moment, Eliza realized she had found shelter, not just physically, but spiritually. Jack's protection was more than physical strength. It was trust, gentleness, and the hope that even in the harsh West, there were those willing to extend a saving hand. Her heart slowed, syncing with Jack's breathing, and in the warm glow of the fire, she felt a deep comfort. For the first time in hours of shivering in the blizzard, she felt truly safe. Jack Thornton stood there watching her with a calm gaze, yet beneath it lay empathy and determination. He knew the journey wasn't over. The blizzard still raged outside, but at least now, this fragile girl was sheltered, saved within his arms. For Eliza, this warm moment was not just rescue from the storm. It was faith that in the Wild West, a glimmer of light could guide lonely souls. The horse's hooves made soft echoes inside the cabin, breath steaming the wind outside held at bay by the door. Eliza looked up at Jack, her eyes filled with gratitude, sensing a safety she had never known before. Amid the blizzard and the untamed West, the only place she found warmth and trust was in the arms of this quiet cowboy. The cabin with its flickering fire, the rising steam from tea, and serene silence became a true refuge. Every gesture, every glance from Jack emphasized that she was no longer alone, that her heart had found a safe harbor in the harsh West. Warmth spread from her shoulders to her heart, soothing every fragment of fear and loneliness. This was the moment of salvation, the moment Eliza realized that in a cruel West kindness and protection endured, and sometimes they appeared just in time to change a life. In that moment, Eliza no longer trembled. She closed her eyes, exhaled deeply, and let her heart rest. Outside, the blizzard raged on, but inside the cabin, another world had opened, a world of warmth, trust, and hope. Jack Thornton stood silently, a steadfast pillar in the wilderness. He needed no words. His presence alone was enough to soothe pain, to heal, and to let Eliza know that she had found a place where she was sheltered, a place she could trust, and a place she could hope. Part 2. The Warm Cabin. When Jack Thornton gently set Eliza Monroe onto the old wooden chair in the cabin, the warmth from the fire instantly spread through the small but cozy space. The whistling wind and blizzard outside the door now felt like a distant soundtrack, replaced by the steady crackle and pop of the flames. The fire's warm golden light fell across Eliza's face, softening the tension and worry etched there, allowing her to relax for the first time after hours of shivering in the storm. Jack bent down to tend the fire, his movements slow but deliberate, as if each action carried his care and protection. He lifted the teapot, pouring the steaming tea into a cup, the rising aroma mingling with the warmth filling Eliza's senses and mind. She inhaled deeply, letting the gentle sensation seep into every fiber of her being. The scent of burning wood, the warmth of the tea, and the soft flickering light from the fire created a space utterly unlike the harshness outside. Eliza felt her heartbeat slow, the tremors gradually melting away in the embrace of safety and warmth. She looked at Jack with eyes filled with gratitude and awe. This quiet, steadfast man had brought her not only physical warmth, but also a healing balm for her fractured spirit. Jack sat beside her, placing the cup of tea in front of Eliza. His gaze was gentle but unobtrusive, silently accompanying her in the moment of stillness. No words were necessary. His quiet presence alone was enough for Eliza to feel safe enough for her to exhale and sense her heart gradually settling. Outside, the blizzard continued to whip snow through the air, but inside, everything was calm and restorative. Eliza closed her eyes, savoring each sip of hot tea, letting the flavors and warmth of the fire soothe the lingering pain in her heart. She realized that this moment was more than a refuge from the storm. It was a sanctuary where her spirit could relax, where faith in human kindness and protection remained strong and genuine even in the harsh West. Jack looked at her, a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips. No explanation was needed. His eyes said it all. "You're safe now. Everything will be okay." In that peaceful moment, Eliza sensed she was no longer alone. Healing warmth and trust had arrived like a small miracle in the Wild West, carrying her beyond fear and loneliness, opening the door to a new chapter filled with hope. Part 3. Confessions of the Past. The flickering fire in the cabin cast dancing shadows across Eliza's face, highlighting the lingering tension etched from the blizzard. The warm darkness surrounding them made the space intimate, isolating her and Jack Thornton from the harsh world outside. Eliza leaned back into the wooden chair, holding her steaming cup of tea, her eyes following the flames as if seeking the courage to open her heart. She began to speak of her past, a history filled with loss, her voice trembling, but striving for calm. A husband, long gone, years of loneliness and abandonment, nameless challenges faced by a fragile woman like herself. Each word she uttered felt like a gentle knife, carving not only into her own heart, but also into the soul of the listener. As she spoke, Jack Thornton remained silent, his eyes reflecting the firelight and a profound, hidden depth rarely seen by others. He did not interrupt or offer hurried advice. Instead, he shared his own loneliness, the losses he had endured across the wild western plains. Long, solitary days, freezing nights, watching a stray cow across the prairie, moments when he felt that no one could ever understand him. Jack's voice was deep, slow, and full of feeling, compelling Eliza to listen and empathize. The cabin grew so quiet that only the crackle of the fire, the gentle inhalation of their breaths, and the silent understanding connecting the two souls remained. Eliza felt a lump in her throat, partly from her own past pain, partly from the empathy emanating from Jack, the quiet man who understood her more than anyone else. She realized that she no longer had to bear loneliness alone. Jack looked into Eliza's eyes, his gaze gentle yet sincere, conveying that all loss and sorrow could be shared and carried together. Eliza felt her heart soften tears, rolling silently down her cheeks. Not tears of fear or despair this time, but of relief, empathy, and the budding sense of healing. That moment by the fire was more than recounting the past. It was a ritual of restoration where two empathetic souls found solace in one another. Every story, every revealed loneliness drew them closer, weaving an invisible yet strong thread of trust and hope. Eliza realized she could place her trust in Jack, and Jack, in turn, felt that Eliza's presence brought warmth, a reason to believe that no loneliness was insurmountable. By the fire, in the warm space separated from the harsh western world outside, Eliza and Jack not only shared their pasts, but forged a deep spiritual connection. The pains confessed, the loneliness shared, kindled a faint hope for the future. In this moment, both recognized that sometimes the simple act of being listened to, a quiet and understanding presence, is enough to heal the heart and open a path to new hope amidst life's storms. Part 4. Emotional Connection. The blizzard outside the cabin had gradually subsided, the cold winds thinning, giving way to stillness and calm. Inside the wooden cabin, the flickering fire cast shimmering streaks of light across the floor and the faces of two people who had just endured a fierce storm. No longer the harsh whistle of the wind, no longer the weighty fall of snow. Only the warm space remained where tension slowly dissolved. Eliza Monroe sat close to the chair, still holding her steaming cup of tea, her eyes following the dancing flames. She felt her heartbeat slow, a sense of safety beginning to spread through her body. Jack Thornton sat opposite her, his gaze warm yet composed as always. The space between them seemed to hold no boundaries, only closeness, trust, built through quiet moments and shared presence. Jack began to gently reveal the fears he had faced in his life on the western plains, long lonely nights, the harshness of nature he had confronted, and the worry that no one could truly understand him. His voice, deep, calm, and deliberate, made Eliza listen attentively, feeling the sincerity beneath each word. In turn, Eliza opened her heart, recounting the anxieties and fear she had endured during the blizzard. Her loneliness when left behind at the train station, and her uncertainty about the future. She spoke slowly, pausing occasionally to draw in a deep breath, ensuring her story was heard and understood. Her eyes gradually lost their fear, replaced by trust and closeness, toward Jack, the only person present ready to accompany her and share every emotion. This moment became a bridge drawing two souls closer. No flowery words or grand gestures were needed, simply a quiet presence, listening attentively, and sincerity in gaze and voice allowed them to feel comforted and connected. Eliza felt her heart soften tension and worry, gradually fading, replaced by the belief that she no longer had to walk alone across the harsh western landscape. Jack gently placed his hand on the edge of the chair, nearly touching Eliza's hand without invading her personal space. The gesture carried a silent promise he would be here, he would protect, he would listen. Eliza looked at him, eyes filled with gratitude and wonder. And for the first time in hours of shivering, she felt her heart warm and at peace. The stories, the shared fears not only built trust, but forged a strong spiritual connection. The fire flickered, the lingering warmth of tea on their lips, and the blizzard outside became nothing more than distant background noise. This moment marked a turning point. From fear and loneliness, Eliza and Jack began to discover companionship and faith in one another, opening a space of intimacy and healing. The trust and closeness extended beyond sharing fears. It brought Eliza a flicker of hope, a belief that even in the wild, harsh West, there were people willing to extend protection, guiding lost and wounded souls. Through his quiet strength and gentleness, Jack became the first safe harbor after so many chaotic moments. And within the warm cabin, these two were no longer strangers. They had become companions, sharing faith, hope, and the healing they had found in each other. Part 5. The decision to protect. The light in the cabin was soft yet strong enough to illuminate Jack Thornton's face, where the fire reflected lines of strength mixed with quiet contemplation. Outside the window, the small town emerged through the mist-wooden houses, silent under the moonlight, as if waiting for the next wave to creep through. Though the blizzard had temporarily calmed, the air of the west remained harsh, and the town's rigid, unforgiving rules could threaten anyone daring to step outside the lines. Eliza Monroe sat in the cabin, her gaze a mix of curiosity and worry, uncertain of what her future held. She knew she was vulnerable, and any misstep could place her in danger. But Jack, with calm and determined eyes, like a steadfast pillar in the wilderness, had resolved that he would not let that happen. He stood moving toward the window, scanning the distant town. Determination was clear in Jack's gaze. He would protect Eliza from any rule or prejudice that might harm her. Not with guns or violence, but with honor and decisiveness. He understood that in this world, protection was sometimes more than physical. It was guarding the spirit, shielding a fragile heart from harshness and injustice. Jack turned to Eliza, his eyes gentle yet firm. "You'll be safe here." He said, his voice deep and steady, carrying a quiet strength that filled Eliza with trust and hope. These words were more than a simple promise. They were a testament to his honor, showing that he, a quiet cowboy, would keep his word and protect her from any danger, whether from nature or from people. Eliza felt warmth spread through her chest, her anxiety slowly dissolving. She realized she no longer needed to fear or face the town's harsh judgments and nameless challenges alone. Jack stood there like a protective wall, gentle yet resolute, making her believe that any danger could be overcome as long as he was by her side. In that moment, the cabin became unusually peaceful. Sounds from the distant town faded into the background, giving way to quiet and serenity inside. Eliza looked at Jack, her eyes filled with gratitude and trust. She felt a new sense of hope that honor, kindness, and protection still existed even in the harsh western frontier. Jack Thornton did not need many words. Through his gaze, gestures, and the decision to stay and protect Eliza, he conveyed a powerful message. Even in a cold world, there are those willing to stand up and safeguard others to bring hope to vulnerable hearts. And in that silent moment, Eliza realized she had found a refuge, not only for her body, but also for her spirit, a place where her heart could be at peace and hope could begin to bloom once again. Part 6. Gentle Love. The next morning, the soft dawn light bathed the small wooden cabin, casting warm shades of golden orange on the remaining snow outside the window. The space was serene, filled only with the solitary chirping of birds, mingling with the gentle breaths of Jack Thornton and Eliza Monroe sitting together. After a long night of storms and shared fears, everything had softened, bringing an extraordinary sense of peace. Jack sat beside Eliza, his gaze filled with care and tenderness. He leaned down, placing a cup of hot tea in front of her, his hand steady yet warm, as if to convey all the peace radiating from him. Eliza smiled, her eyes glimmering with gratitude and a hint of shyness, realizing she was no longer alone, that Jack's presence offered both protection and affection. She lightly touched his hand, feeling the warmth of his worn leather coat, still carrying the scent of burning wood and tea. Words were unnecessary. The closeness, the presence, and the quiet care were enough to calm both hearts, healing the wounds of the previous night. Every glance and gesture became a bridge connecting their souls, drawing them closer and forming a bond both subtle and strong. Jack gently brushed Eliza's disheveled hair, a simple act brimming with concern. Eliza responded with a warm smile, her eyes filled with trust. Outside, the dawn light streamed through the window, catching tiny dust particles in the cabin, creating a scene suffused with a sense of magic. Everything exuded calm, lightening both of their spirits and filling them with hope. In that moment, all tension, fear, and pain dissolved, leaving only peace and faith in the future. Jack and Eliza were no longer strangers. They had become companions, sharing trials, cherishing quiet moments, and healing each other's wounds. Eliza looked out the window at the sunlight glinting on the snow-covered fields, feeling a strong belief that no matter how harsh the West might be, moments of peace existed, and there were people ready to care for and love one another. Jack turned to her, his gaze tender yet powerful, as if to say he would always be by her side, protecting and accompanying her, no matter what storms life might bring. In that early morning moment, the small cabin became a perfect refuge, not only sheltering their bodies from the cold, but healing their hearts, igniting hope and gentle love in the Wild West. Bathed in the warm dawn light, Jack and Eliza savored their closeness, their quiet care, and the feeling that despite the challenges life held, they had found each other. And in that presence, true peace, trust, and healing were born. Part 7. Family Bonding. The early morning sky over the west was unusually clear, the sunrise streaming through the thin veil of mist, lingering on the snow-covered grass. The small wooden cabin stood steadfast in the wide meadow, smoke gently rising from the hearth, creating a scene both peaceful and warm. In the yard, before the cabin, Tommy and Lily, the two orphan children Jack and Eliza had taken in as their found family, were playing joyfully, their innocent laughter mingling with the soft breeze and the serene sounds of the western morning. Eliza Monroe stood nearby, her eyes sparkling with happiness. She watched the children run around their small hands, waving in the cold air, their faces full of wonder and delight. She felt the vibrancy and innocence of childhood, a purity completely contrasting with the lonely, sorrowful, and anxious days she had endured. Now, the presence of Tommy and Lily brought simple yet complete joy, easing the painful memories in her heart. Jack Thornton stood beside Eliza, his gaze gentle yet composed, observing every gesture of the children, while occasionally glancing at her with a faint, warm smile. He felt that not only had he found a new sense of connection, but Eliza was gradually opening her heart, embracing this small family. They were no longer solitary figures struggling against the harsh West. They had created a home, a place where each heart could find peace and happiness. The two children ran to Eliza, holding her hands, their eyes shining with trust and curiosity. Eliza laughed, hugging each of them in turn, feeling the warmth radiating from their small bodies. Jack bent down, gently patting Lily's shoulder, and taking Tommy's hand, joining in their simple game of tag filled with laughter. That moment was more than play. It was bonding, a clear expression of a family chosen and built through kindness, love, and sacrifice. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting its glow on Jack and Eliza's faces, highlighting their smiles and warm eyes. The space around them brimmed with life. Every step and leap of Tommy and Lily engraved happiness, emphasizing that this was a complete moment where all past pain and loneliness seemed to vanish. Eliza looked at Jack, her eyes filled with gratitude and affection, realizing that they were not just companions, but partners in building a home and a future together. Jack's voice, deep and gentle, carried warmth. We will protect each other and face every challenge together. Eliza nodded, feeling the strength in his words, not merely a promise, but a commitment expressed through hard action and presence in each other's lives. The two children ran around the cabin, occasionally stopping to giggle, pulling Jack and Eliza into their innocent yet meaningful games. Each laugh, each hug, each exchanged glance was a mark of the bond and love built naturally and sincerely. Jack led the children into the meadow, letting them chase around the snow-laden bushes. Eliza stood nearby, picking up small fallen branches to stoke the fire, participating in the games with gentle, loving gestures. Every step on the snow, every small act of theirs painted a picture of harmony, closeness, and the confidence that they truly were a family. In that peaceful moment, Jack shared stories of the West with Tommy and Lily. Long days herding cattle, moonlit nights on the plains, and lessons of kindness, resilience, and love. Eliza listened alongside them, her eyes following the children, feeling happiness spreading through her heart. There was no tension or worry, only joy, laughter, and warmth permeating every gesture and glance. The cabin and yard overflowed with the warmth of family love and trust. Eliza felt clearly that she was no longer a lonely woman. She had found a home, a place where her heart could rest, where she and Jack could care for and love the children, creating a full and meaningful life. The sky brightened as sunlight pierced the mist, glinting on the remaining snow, making everything sparkle as if by magic. Warmth and happiness flowed through the rhythm of each family member's breath. Eliza closed her eyes, inhaling deeply, savoring the peace, love, and joy surrounding her. Jack stood beside her, his gaze tender, filled with love and determination to protect this home. Amid Tommy and Lily's laughter and games in the warm glow of the cabin, Eliza and Jack realized they had found a true family, not by blood, but by choice, love, and kindness. Every gesture, every word, every moment of care became an invisible thread, binding them together, creating a strong and loving home in the Wild West. This moment marked a turning point in their lives. From loneliness and fear, they had found each other, found connection, and above all, found simple, yet complete happiness. The small cabin stood still in the meadow, bathed in the morning light, the blizzard gone, and in that space, a new family warm and full of love had truly taken shape. Jack bent down to hug Tommy, while Eliza gently held Lily's hand, both looking out over the snow-covered yard. Every glance, every smile, every giggle emphasized that this was not just a temporary family, but a home built from heart care and genuine love. Across the wide meadow, the laughter of the two adults, the playful sounds of the children, and the sunlight glinting on the snow blended into a symphony of peace, warmth, and joy. Eliza felt the rhythm of Jack's heartbeat, the breath of Tommy and Lily, and she knew that no matter the challenges ahead, they had each other a home and had discovered true happiness in the harsh West. Part 8. Challenges Outside. A new day dawned over the west, sunlight filtering through the small wooden rooftops of the town. Jack Thornton's farm lay not far from the settlement, amidst fields still dusted with thin layers of snow, left behind by the storm. The peaceful space outside the cabin suddenly grew tense as the townspeople, with stern eyes and rigid attitudes, began to take notice of Eliza Monroe and the two orphan children, Tommy and Lily. They regarded Jack and Eliza as outsiders, individuals who did not conform to the strict rules set by the town. Eliza felt the pressure in the air, her eyes filled with worry, unsure if their presence might put their small family at risk. She gripped Jack's hand tightly, seeking protection and courage from him. Jack, calm yet determined, stepped forward like a fortress shielding his loved ones. He understood that honor was not just personal dignity, it was also the responsibility to protect the vulnerable from injustice. As a few townspeople approached, their voices low, filled with suspicion and challenge, they cited rules and laws Jack and his small family had never followed, standards regarding residence marriage and the guardianship of orphans. Some even issued thinly veiled threats, implying that Eliza and the children would have to leave if they did not comply. But Jack Thornton did not waver. He stood firm, his eyes sharp, yet gentle toward those challenging him, his voice deep and steady. They are my family. I will not let any law or oppression harm them. His words rang out, not merely a declaration of protection, but a testament to his honor and sense of justice. He did not resort to violence or intimidation, relying instead on resolve, calm, and the authority of his own integrity. Eliza stood beside him, feeling each beat of Jack's heart, her own filled with trust. She realized that their safety was not a matter of luck, but the result of his decisive courage. Every step he took, every gesture he made, showed that he was ready to protect them at any cost, safeguarding the honor of their family amid the harsh world around them. The confrontation was not violent. It was a test of steadfastness and justice. Gradually, the townspeople realized that Jack Thornton was not just an ordinary cowboy. He was principled, honorable, and most importantly, a protector of vulnerable souls. His gaze was sharp, but free of malice, sending a silent message. True authority comes from fairness and kindness, not threats or power. Tommy and Lily stood beside Eliza, watching Jack, sensing the safety and protection he provided. They did not yet fully understand social conflicts or rigid rules, but through Jack's eyes and gestures, they understood that their small family would be defended and no one could harm them. Eliza took a deep breath, feeling her heartbeat steady, her heart filled with hope. As the morning passed, tensions around the farm gradually eased. The townspeople realized that despite their rules and prejudices, Jack's honor, determination, and goodness were unshakable. He protected his small family, not just with actions, but through the strength of his character, earning the respect and acceptance of those around him. Jack Thornton turned to look at Eliza and the children, his gaze gentle yet powerful. She realized that in the Wild West, challenges were not always from nature or storms, but from people and prejudices. Yet with Jack's steadfastness, honor, and protection, they had overcome the threat, opening a path of safety and hope for their small family. As the sun set over the farm, pale light reflecting on the snow created a scene both peaceful and hopeful. Jack led Eliza and the children back into the cabin, his gaze calm and resolute. Eliza held his hand, feeling warmth radiating from his presence. Knowing that they had faced the challenge, upheld their honor, and protected the home they had built. In that moment, the small family felt peace and safety. The soft wind outside the window, the warm glow of the cabin fire, and Jack's silent presence spoke clearly in the harsh, West justice and honor endure, and love and kindness will shield vulnerable hearts. Part 9. A New Hope. The brilliant dawn stretched across the west, golden orange light filtering through the dew-covered grass, casting a sparkling shimmer on the ground. The wide meadow lay open before Jack Thornton, Eliza Monroe, Tommy, and Lily, evoking a sense of vastness and freedom, a stark contrast to the harshness of the storms they had endured. The space was filled with serene silence, broken only by the solitary chirping of birds and the soft laughter of the children, blending with the breaths of those savoring the first moments of the day. Jack walked among the cattle on the farm, carefully inspecting each one, his gaze calm yet full of vitality. Eliza followed closely, preparing food for the animals, her hands more skillful and confident after the days they had endured. Tommy and Lily ran and played across the meadow, their laughter reminding everyone that life goes on still full of joy, even after challenges that had once left them trembling. The group began their morning routines. Jack organized work on the farm, checking fences and barns. Eliza prepared breakfast, and the children helped by gathering grass and carrying water for the animals. Each action, each gesture, simple and ordinary, carried a profound sense of peace as they moved in harmony together, creating a chain of activities grounded in connection and trust in the future. The morning light illuminated each face, revealing Eliza's gentle features, Jack's calm strength, and the innocence of Tommy and Lily. Fear, loneliness, and the threat of storms had vanished, replaced by tranquility and trust in the new day. Eliza looked at Jack, her eyes filled with gratitude and hope. She realized that no matter how harsh the West might be, they had built a home where everyone had a role, was protected and loved. Jack looked across the meadow, his hand resting lightly on Eliza's shoulder, transmitting a sense of safety and trust. He felt her heartbeat steady hope shining in her eyes and reflected in every small yet meaningful action they shared. In that moment, Jack understood that all the challenges they had faced had only strengthened this little family, deepening their bonds and filling them with confidence in the days to come. Tommy and Lily ran toward them, taking Jack and Eliza's hands to join in a simple, warm game across the wide meadow. Laughter echoed, mingling with the soft wind and the radiant sunrise, creating a feeling of peace, a living picture of joy and harmony. Everything around seemed awake in nature, people, light, and breath, blending together, conveying that hope always exists, even after the fiercest storms. Eliza bent down to brush Lily's hair, slipped her hand into Tommy's coat to keep him warm, then clasped Jack's hand, their eyes meeting in a silent but powerful expression of trust. Jack smiled, his gaze tender, the sunlight framing a scene of serenity where all worries and fears had been replaced by hope and confidence. The group continued their morning tasks, Jack tending to the animals, Eliza preparing breakfast, Tommy and Lily running around helping. Every act demonstrated harmony, a connection not just between people, but between humans and the vast western landscape. They had learned that no matter the storms and challenges, as long as they were together, they would always find peace and trust. As the morning sun illuminated the meadow, they paused to take a deep breath of the fresh air, feeling the scent of earth grass and lingering dew. It was a moment of complete tranquility, a time when hearts were no longer fearful, but open to love, trust, and hope. This small family, though not bound by blood, had become a unified, strong, and radiant collective through choice, affection, and kindness. In that instant, Eliza held Jack's hand, her eyes reflecting simple yet profound happiness. Tommy and Lily ran around laughing loudly, their childish laughter a reminder that life continues and that every challenge only strengthens the family. Jack looked over the meadow, his heart filled with peace and trust, knowing that from this moment onward, no matter how harsh the West might be, they had each other, a home to return to, and hope and faith to continue building their future. The vast meadow, bathed in sunrise, with these four connected souls, alive with laughter and love, became the perfect symbol of new hope. The belief that after every challenge, light, peace, and harmony remain guiding hearts toward home, love, and true happiness. Complete peace. The sunset descended over the west, painting the sky and the small wooden cabin in brilliant shades of gold and orange. Gentle light streamed through the windows, illuminating Jack Thornton and Eliza Monroe's faces highlighting the warmth and happiness in their expressions. In the yard before the cabin, Tommy and Lily ran and played their pure laughter, mingling with the soft breeze and the serene sounds of the western landscape. Jack and Eliza stood side by side, hands tightly clasped, their gazes conveying trust, tenderness, and a love that had blossomed yet already run deep. No words were needed. In that handhold and presence, they shared a sense of absolute peace. In this moment, all tension, worry, and fear from the past dissolved, leaving only complete tranquility. Tommy and Lily ran about their laughter, reminding everyone that life goes on, and the home they had built was filled with love, a place where everyone was protected and happy. Jack and Eliza watched the children's smiles spreading across their faces, hearts brimming with gratitude for having overcome challenges, preserved their honor, and found both love and family bonds. Outside the cabin, the West remained wild and untamed, but within the glow of the sunset and the presence of their small family, all hardships seemed distant. This scene was not just the end of a day. It was a testament to a profound truth. In the harsh West, love and kindness are the ultimate shelter, guiding and protecting vulnerable hearts, bringing complete peace and happiness. Jack gently squeezed Eliza's hand, his gaze tender yet steadfast, as if to say they would face whatever lay ahead together. Eliza returned his look, eyes full of trust, feeling that all past fears and loneliness had been healed. Tommy and Lily ran around laughter, echoing their family's rhythm, blending seamlessly with the calm sunset. In the harsh West, love and kindness remain the only shelter, bringing faith, peace, and happiness to every heart. Leave a comment and rate it from 0 to 10. Subscribe for the next Wild West story.